like the hat. Oh, hi. I could be saying something. Oh, I gotta shut up now. The music's playing. Yes. Well, I've got 13 people on. Okay, let's get this show on the road. What do you say? And good afternoon, and welcome to GoFor Lunch number 46. Pretty soon we'll be at 52, and you know what that means? That we've been doing this for one whole year. So it's been quite a journey. And I'm glad that you are traveling along with me. Good day, Doriana. Doriana was the inspiration for today's meeting title. And Stanley's here. I'm doing great, Stanley. Glad to see you too. So, we can't forget Judy. Hi, Judy. So let's just jump right in, as they say on YouTube. So this is going to be kind of a freewheeling little episode. So feel free to put some questions in the comments. You can ask me anything. In internet lingo, that's AMA. Ask me anything. So let us just go here and talk about some things. So, Doriana has this little phrase, what would Roger do? And hopefully, most of the time, Roger comes up with a solution that works. So that's what we're going to talk about here during GoFor Lunch number 46. So, speaking of questions, here is some inspiration for your questions. I don't know what you don't know. That's a famous quote. So that's why you need to ask me so I'll know what you don't know so we can all learn together. So that's the whole idea of these little sessions is we learn things together so your question helps you and everybody else. So I want to tell you a little story here. I've been working on this series for the learning curve called Women on the Edge. So one of my clients did this 5-part series, which is going to which is actually already running on the Learning Curve. It's a website, thelearningcurvetucson.com, if you're interested. And so we've been recording this using the same software I'm using here, Ecamm, and Keynote, which is what we're looking at right here. And we had a little problem. We had the fourth in the series. I got back to start doing the editing on it, and the file wouldn't open, and I couldn't figure it out. And I tried all sorts of things to try to rescue the file, and nothing worked. So I went back, and we had to re-record session number 4. We'd already finished session number 5. And it had to be done by yesterday morning at 8 o'clock. So that was a lot of my weekend, is re-recording it and editing it. And then we upload it to Vimeo. And I realize this is all kind of technical stuff, but there's a moral to this story, so hang in there with me. So we had to upload it to Vimeo, which is a service similar to YouTube, but there's no commercials, and it's a higher quality video. So I couldn't get it to upload to Vimeo. I tried 3 times, starting at 2:30 yesterday morning after I got it edited. So finally, the 3rd time it worked. So there's no explanation as to why it didn't work the first 2 times. Anyway, so while we were re-recording session 4, I had forgotten one little detail, and that during session 4, my talent, Mike Dominguez, accidentally kicked a surge suppressor under his desk, and the computer went black. And so the file wasn't saved, and that's why it wouldn't work. But I had forgotten that until I got back and he mentioned it. So anyway, that's my story, and that's kind of my explanation why we're kind of freewheeling here. Okay, what would Roger do? So let's talk about Google Sign In. So two people, Leslie Ann and Ann, told me last week they wanted to comment, but they couldn't. So let's jump into Mr. Safari here. And there's Mr. Safari. And let me get into Mr. Safari. Oh, spoiler. Okay, let's see if we have. Okay, here's a little tip. When you're in many different programs, if you go up here into the menu bar, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the label Window. And you click on Window, you can go to the very bottom and it'll show you all the open windows you have. So we're going to open a new window by using the command key shortcut of N for new. There's our new window. And we're going to go to YouTube. And here we are. And so we're going to sign out of YouTube. So up here in the upper right hand corner, there's a circle. Now, if you haven't put a picture in there, like there's a picture in here, it'll just have your initial. So I'm going to sign out of YouTube. So signing out of YouTube is signing out of all Google apps. So another little reminder here. Right now this says YouTube apps. This little matrix is what I call it. So those are just YouTube apps. Now if I sign in, so you have to be signed in order to comment on my video, on my live videos, or anybody's live videos. So number one, make sure you're signed in if you're having a problem adding comments. So we're going to sign in. So we're going to just choose this little account here. As you can see, I have several. So you see the key here. That's one password. And this is the Gmail account. So if you have a Gmail account, you have a Google account. So you have a YouTube account. You have a Google Docs account. So all things Google just has one sign-in per Google Gmail address. So if you have multiple Gmail addresses, you have multiple accounts. So we're going to click on that to fill in our password. We're going to click on Next. Who's this we? Why do we say we all the time? Okay, so now we're in YouTube. So now notice that when we go to the little matrix here, it says YouTube apps. But if we open a new window doing Command N, and we just go to Google, there we go, there's Google. Now when we go to the little matrix, and you see here, here's the little R. I don't know why Google dropped the picture that was there, but they did, so Google's weird. Remember that. Google's weird. Now when we click on the little matrix, we see all these different Google applications. So we have Maps, we have the Google Play Store, which doesn't apply to you as a Mac user usually. We have Google Meet, which is their answer, not so great answer to Zoom, of course Gmail, Google News, Google Contacts, Google Drive, Google Calendar, Google Photos, Duo, which is kind of like FaceTime, Translate, which is one that I use all the time to communicate with my friends in Mexico, and of course the Google Chrome browser, which we don't recommend because of they follow you and sell your information. And it goes on. Sheets is a word processor. Slides is like Keynote, a presentation program. Hangouts is where you can hang out with other people. And Google Earth, of course, is a neat map application. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And then it goes on even more, but we won't get into that. So That is the trick. Make sure that you're signed in to your Google account or a Google account. So does anybody have any questions on that? Let's see here. Okay. Leslie Ann says she's got to change her picture. Okay. And we'll take care of that. And Judy had to change her computer password. Now other devices don't recognize that password. Okay. Yes, Judy, I'll give you a call and we will figure that out. So the short answer to that is if you had to change your... Now you said you had to change your computer password. I'm wondering if you mean your Apple ID password. Could you clarify that for me? Because if it's your Apple ID password, then you do have to change that on your Mac, your iPhone, and your iPad, and iTunes, and every place that you deal with Apple. So Doriana wants to know, do you have to sign in and out of other devices? Sometimes they ask me to sign in. So you don't have to sign out. So if you have a Gmail account and you are using some of the Google apps, hopefully not Chrome, then you don't have to sign out unless you need to change to a different Google account, a different Gmail account. And Leslie Ann says, how do you delete an account? Do you mean a Google account, Leslie Ann? Would you clarify that? And Susan says, yeah, so that's a good point, Susan. So once you sign into Google, normally you stay signed in, and there's really no reason to sign out, because when you do sign out, then you lose access to the Google apps like some people have been having a problem with. Okay, so keep asking those questions. I'll check back with you in a minute, but let's go look at some more interesting stuff here. So, at the beginning of my YouTube lives, GoFor Lunch, every Tuesday at noon, there is a countdown timer. Now, I'm experimenting here. It was 10 minutes, and each week I'm kind of shaving a minute off, just shaving that minute right off there. So we're going to kind of see if we can come to a happy median. And so let me know what length of a countdown timer you think would be good. Now, the advice by many Google, I should say YouTube Live experts, is that after we do the live, I should go back in and trim off that countdown timer so it's gone. The problem with that is when I trim it off, I lose all the statistics that I gain from the live. So I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. So let's go back to Safari. And let's talk about how to skim, because that way, if Roger's lazy or decides not to trim off that counter. So as you can see here, I just typed in, all I had to type in was a Y actually, and it brings up YouTube. And because YouTube is selected there in the blue, then I just hit return or enter. And now I'm in YouTube. So let's see, let's find so this is, you can see here, I'm going to, I'm going to run down a lot of little rabbit holes here. So as I see things that I think might be of interest to you, I'm going to mention. So when you're on YouTube and you see this red live now in the rectangle, what do you think that means? It means they're live now. So if we clicked on this,
I've never gotten a call back on a certain job on jobs. And it's because they're all 20% of the industry is using this one.
I can stop him right there. Now so this is TWIT, which stands for This Week in Tech. And this is a podcast network started by Leo Laporte. And they have lots of good programs. But this is Mac Break Weekly, where they talk weekly about Mac stuff. So the point here is we want to Well, let's just take this one here, which is not live, because okay. So here's
even after 10 years of thinning hair.
Of course,
solved with Simfort carbonated foam.
On the
I'm
right,
Tom.
This is Twit.
Okay, so now there's going to be an introduction. So we'll pretend this is the countdown timer. Okay, so what you do is you go down here in the lower left-hand corner, you mouse over this, and you get the red dot there, and then you can just simply drag it. So if a countdown timer was, say, 10 minutes, you would want to just grab it. And you can see above the red dot, there's the time. So this is a pretty short video. So we would go to 10 or 8 or whatever timer length I decide on. And then you can just skip right past the timer. Hit your play
Windows
button.
Vista time frame when that was coming out, and the Mac, I'm a Mac ads were happening.
There you go.
And they were full of lies. And
So everybody is talking about the new ad campaign by Justin. What's Justin's last name? Anyway, he was the I'm a Mac in the I'm a Mac, I'm a PC ad campaign about 9 years ago. And now he's doing Intel ads and really blasting the Mac in Intel's desperate attempt to try to get people not to buy the fabulous new M1 Macs. So that's how you skim in YouTube. All right. So here's another random thought I had, something that I do all the time, but I've never told you about. And that is cleaning your screen. So we all have a lot of screens, don't we? We have iPhone screens. We have, see what happens when you have a green screen? It does weird things. But if I put it in front of me, it doesn't work any better. But you look at that. So you see there, those are smear marks from putting my finger on the screen. So I have tried several different kinds of screen cleaners. Say that 3 times fast. And so the one that I've found that works the best so far, and I haven't tried them all, is called, this is going to be really interesting. How do we put it down here? It is called Clean Screen. What could be easier? Right? So the way we work this is it comes with a nice high quality microfiber cloth with little kind of a square design, which I'm assuming makes it pick up dirt better. So what I do is I fold it into quarters, and this has a little cap on it. Okay. And maybe we just went to camera 2. How's that? Okay. So here's got a little cap on it. So we take off the little cap because I think the cap keeps it from evaporating. So that's kind of important to put the cap back on. So we'll put the cap down here. So what I do is I take 1/4 of it and spray it with about 3 little squirts. And then, so the easiest way to do this would be to turn your Mac off by hitting the power button. So you have a black screen, and then you can kind of look at it at an angle like this, and you can see all the fingerprints. So you just look, and of course, what happens is, in this case, this is an iPhone 6, so it has the Touch ID, and I touch the Touch ID, so while it's on, that's another reason to clean your screen, because sometimes your Touch ID stops working, and it could be, one reason could be that it just is dirty. So that might get your Touch ID working again. Now, in other cases, I've had a lot of people say that their Touch ID doesn't work, so the best thing to do is just to redo the Touch ID. So now, I don't know if you can see this, but I didn't show it to you the other time. Well, I guess I did show it to you. So I guess I keep touching something here that's turning the screen on, so I'm going to turn the screen off. Okay, so now after we've done it on the wet side, we turn it over. And I know this is kind of rudimentary, but just hopefully this will stick in your mind. Okay, so now we have a nice clean screen. So that will work with your monitor. That will work with your flat screen TV in your living room. So let's look at some options here. So we're going to go to Mr. Safari. I don't know why I call it Mr. Safari. So we're going to close this window. Remember, when you close a window, it sometimes closes the program, but many times it only closes the window and the program is still going. But also remember that you don't need to quit Safari or Mail because you're going to be using them all day, so there's no reason to quit. So here's the green screen website. Now, I actually won this clean screen, yeah, at a raffle. And I think at the time it came from Costco. However, when I looked at Costco and Walmart and Target, it was not to be seen. So apparently they are in a direct-to-consumer model. So here is the one that I have. In fact, I think the one that I had, you know how they do things special at Costco, I think I got 2 bottles of this. It was in a big blister pack. And as you can see, and that was a couple of years ago, and as you can see, this is about 4/5 full already. I mean, still. So what I would recommend, because obviously it lasts pretty long, is I would recommend this, either this briefcase purse kit, which gives you 2. And then if there's other people in the family, maybe you want to get the executive size, which gives you 4 vials of cleaning fluid and 4 cloths. And here, of course, you can get extra cloths. So the reason I am advocating that you get 2 per person is that many of us now in our vehicles have a screen where we control various functions like our air conditioning, and we watch our maps and things. So that also gets just as dirty as this, as your iPad and your iPhone. So I think this one would be a good choice, or a couple of those, one for each family member, so they can keep their personal screens and their car screens clean. Okay, let's check and see if we have any questions here while we have a little break. So, let's see. I think we answered this question. So you don't have to sign in and out of your devices. Normally, once you sign in, you're good to go. And then I will talk to you offline, Leslie Ann, about deleting accounts. And okay, good. So we clarified that you're talking about Google accounts. We can do that. And Bob is voting for a 5-minute countdown. Anybody else voting for a 5-minute countdown? And Judy wants to know, she's tried entering the new password on each device and they don't recognize it. So your Exchange ID, which in your case I know is through the university, would be a unique password. That would be different than your Apple ID normally. So we will look into that with you. You know, I've never used the clean screen on the inside of a windshield, but that's certainly a good question. And with this big bottle here, I probably could do that. I'll give that a try. Okay, let's, thanks for the questions. I always like to learn more with you. So let's go back to our questions here. So what I have done is I have put the links for the clean screen in the comments below. So all of these things I'm going to be talking about today are in the comments already. So again, Dorianne had a question, and we found this iPhone stand on Amazon. And I like this one because if you have a webcam, it has a regular quarter 20 standard tripod mount, and it also comes with a clamp to clamp your iPhone. Normally I have one here, but I don't think it's here right now. So the reason that you might want that is so you don't get the up the nostril look when you have your phone, sitting down here. Well, let's just show you this way. So, of course, when you have your phone or your laptop and the camera is, this high, it's looking right up your old nozzle. Nozzle? What is the word I'm looking for? Anyway, for some reason, Jimmy Durante comes to mind. I don't know what that's all about. So, you want, for any time of video call, you want to have the camera, which of course is located in the top of your iPhone or your iPad. Also, you want that camera in the landscape position so that you're getting a full frame. And you want it at eye level. So that's the whole point here. Get the camera to eye level. Don't have it down here so it's, looking up this way. It's a bad look. It's a very bad look. So you want it at eye level. So that's what this is all about, is getting the camera at eye level. Now, some of you already have a camera tripod. So if you already have a camera tripod, you don't need a stand. What you need is just a mount for your phone. So here's the one that we're looking at. It costs $20 at Amazon. And there's, bunches of these. But I kind of like this one because it has a base. You could use a tripod on your desk, but a tripod, of course, would take up more room when you spread out the legs. So this would be good if you don't have a tripod and you're just going to use it for video calls. But here's another one that I like a lot because it's made out of metal. So this is all made out of, it probably says here somewhere, aircraft quality aluminum. That's what they usually say. It's computer, what does CNC stand for? Computer something something. Anyway, it's machined out of aerospace aluminum alloy. And as a little bonus, it has this little mount here, so you could mount a light, so you'd have good light on there, or you could mount a microphone, so you have better audio quality on there. So that would be my favorite, and as you can see, it folds down. It gets very compact, and here's the tripod mount for it, and there's another tripod mount, I think. Let's see. So that's how it looks when it's opened up. So it's aluminum alloy and stainless steel bolt. That should accommodate any iPhone that you have. And again, there's a little picture of how it works with the cold shoe mount for adding accessories. And there's a close-up and there's a little video. Now, if you wanted to, and this one was $16. So here's another one that I I have. And the only reason that I'm recommending this as number 2 is that one of my friends was using this and had it mounted on a tripod. The tripod fell over and this broke because it's made out of plastic. It's pretty, heavy duty plastic, but it did break. Again, it will accommodate any size iPhone. You mount it on a tripod and it's very adjustable. So, and this one is a deal at just $7.47. So, do we have any questions about mounting your iPhone at eye level? So, we'll see here. Okay, I'll check back in a minute because there is a little delay, so don't feel like I'm ignoring you because between the time you ask the question and the time that it pops up here, it takes a little while. Okay, so let's jump back here and see what else we have to talk about. Well, we have GoFor Gazette, which comes out every Monday morning about 7 o'clock. And I'm encouraging you to share that with your friends and family by just simply forwarding the email that you receive. And that will help more people learn more and contribute questions so we all learn more. So share the GoFor Gazette, please. And you could also have them subscribe to this YouTube live video. And that helps me get noticed in YouTube. So, remember, have mask, will travel. So I'm still doing in-person visits for those things that cannot be done any other way. And we are doing screen sharing. We do screen sharing through the Messages app, which comes on your Mac. And that brings us to an idea that Alexis had. Looks like I've got some real facial problems there, doesn't it? Oh well. Green screens are not easy, as you know. And I have, I need to put more light on, I think, on the green screen. But I have an adjustment here, so I can adjust it. I think the light, what's happening is, see, when you adjust it that way, it gets, that's called noise. Do you see all that noise there? And there's my green screen. A little behind the scenes. Let's see if we can just, so when I go too much, then it's very tricky. There we go. I think I've got a window open over here. So the light changed outside, so that's why the green screen changed. So probably information you don't care about, but we're going to tell you. So idea, here's an idea. An online cable identification program. We all have those boxes of cables, and we don't know whether they're worth keeping or not. But some of us that have the pack rat gene just keep them. And so what we could do next week, if you like, so let me know whether you think this is a great idea or not. We could do a Zoom meeting next week instead of a YouTube Live where we could all be here together. And you could bring your box of cables and we will sort them out and tell you which ones to keep and which ones to recycle. And of course, I'm big into recycling, and I will definitely help you recycle those, pick them up on my next visit or if I'm in the neighborhood. So what do you think about a cable keep or recycle Zoom meeting next week? So I'd like to know whether that's appealing. So let's, I don't have a way to do a poll here, but just tell me in the comments, yes, if you'd like to do it, or just click on a thumbs up or whatever. And Kay wants to say that tripods are the best. And of course, if if you're trying to decide whether to get that stand, or if you don't already have a tripod, if you have room, tripods are the best because you can use them outside when you go take pictures and have a nice steady, again, we always take our pictures like this, the camera lens in the upper left-hand corner, otherwise they're upside down, but we always want to do landscape. Remember that. This portrait stuff I really don't like because of those big black bars that you get. So let's see. Okay, so it looks like we have the cable ID program. So we will go ahead. Looks like a lot of you would like to do that. So I will definitely do that next week. So remember then, next week we will do a Zoom meeting. So the link in the GoFor Gazette will be for a Zoom meeting. And that way, not only will we learn what cables we can get rid of, we'll learn what those cables do that you're going to keep and why you'd want to keep them. So that's great. Okay, well, I think we'll wrap this baby up. Thank you so much for joining, and I'm excited about next week. That'll be fun, and I'll probably think of some other things I want to share with you between now and then. So I'm sure that, again, we'll all learn something next week. So be here next week, 12 noon on Tuesday, and thanks for being here today.